and that's it.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't like doing the intros, man. I used to prepare all the shit and be like, "Welcome to Fight Junkies." It would just seemed a little too like
formal.
Yeah, I'm not a formal. I got face tattoos. I can't be fucking formal. I can be, but today I got an awesome guest, a legend from the Bay Area. You know what I mean? Frisco. We got a coach. We got a mentor. We got a champion.
Thank you.
Robert Squyres Jr. is in the house.
Yes,
What's up, brother?
How you doing, brother?
I'm good. We've been working on getting together for a while. It's I'm still learning how to navigate this stuff. Like I'm sure it's like when you level up to something new, you still have all your life experiences, but if you're doing something completely different you've never done, I don't care how much experience you have in other shit. Like
it doesn't equate.
Yeah, it doesn't equate. And podcasting, hosting a show, networking, talking to 30 people with my little bird brain, it hasn't been easy. My wife's now in charge of the Fight Junkies Instagram because I can't keep up. I wish I could. I wish I could give access to a lot more people and not just have champions. But there's, what I mean by that is I got a lot of people that hit me up and want to come on the show.
Oh, yeah. That's a great platform.
But I have a lot of people who hit me up to come on because of selfish reasons. Like they have 200 followers and all I see is them taking pictures smoking weed. And like, but you're telling me you're a fighter. When I'm surrounded by...
You see it.
Every day. Chilling with O'Day. Shout out to O'Day, my boy. I'm not wasting your time or my time. Because these guys think they're fighters and they go train with you and then within 10 minutes, you already have them quitting and crying.
A lot of people do that, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about you. You're from the Bay Area, which interests me with the Muay Thai because shout out to the Bay. There's a lot of jiu-jitsu, like underground stuff and 10th Planet out in Oakland. Shout out 10th Planet. But Muay Thai is not huge in the Bay. And to go that route and become like a champion, and it's big, but like the Bay Area is a weird incubator.
It's a melting pot. Yeah, it's a melting pot. So you get people, all walks of life, all backgrounds. You get now Zuckerberg, dude from Facebook, is training MMA. It's beautiful. But I come from a traditional Muay Thai gym in San Francisco, and I was there since I was 17. And if it wasn't for that gym, I'd probably be in jail because I was an angry kid. So
We're at in San Francisco.
It was in the Ocean Geneva area.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So it was in there, and then we moved to the Inner Sunset.
Much better.
Yeah, way better. I'm from the Richmond district and the Fillmore district, so shout out to those areas. Born and raised, I'm one of the rare ones in San Francisco. Moved out here about 8 years ago. Living the dream. I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, the Bay is one of my favorite places. I lived in Vallejo.
Nice.
I lived in Benicia, right on First Street.
Fought on 3rd in Benicia, the tower.
Oh, okay.
The clock tower.
Yeah. Oh, shit. That's, it's hard to get to that thing.
Yeah.
If you don't know. Yeah, that's cool. And then there's the general and the colonel houses down there by the water.
Yep.
Yeah, right by the Martinez Bridge.
Bay's just eclectic, man.
Yeah, I love it.
If you know, you know.
I lived in Concord for a couple years on the only lake in Concord.
Oh, wow.
I tell people, hey, we live by a lake. And they're like, what do you mean? There's this ghetto ass, like horrible apartment complex where I probably was the most professional looking person in the building and I'm covered in ink. And I'm usually the worst looking one, But there was a lake in the backyard, which was pretty dope. If you know California, you got like Berryessa and like then you got the Bay, actual water.
Yeah.
There's no lakes, not really.
No.
Yeah, so we were in Concord. My wife's from Napa.
Oh, beautiful.
She was super excited. But I have to say, I know, honey, she goes, I'm from Napa, but she grew up poor. She was a waitress. Her parents didn't have a lot. She always gets like you're from Napa. Yeah. She's like, I'm not rich, motherfucker. Like I'm one of the locals. So what made you get into the fighting? I know you came up in a hard area. Was it like a family member? Or
I made mistakes growing up, and I tried to buy a firearm illegally. And it was either that or jail time. And so they got me in a program, and the head owner of the gym allowed me to clean the gym, Karate Kid style, learn how to teach kids, and then grew for a love for it and just stuck with it for about 10 years.
That's so dope.
Yeah. So I started literally at the bottom for fighting, and then just, I was not more than a janitor, which I acclaimed all my success today is because if I could clean a gym, keep it sanitized, take out the garbage and stay with it and become where I'm at, anybody could do it.
Damn. So you're you know that there's a few. You're one of them, elites in that area.
I wouldn't even say I'm elite. I'm just.
No, but you're at that high level.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's millions of people that say they are, but like, you're training UFC fighters at the PI.
I'm thankful for that.
I'd say that's elite. Am I wrong? Like,
that's pretty elite to me.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're in the dugout and you're, you know, teaching the pitcher, the New York Yankees, how to throw a ball, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty elite to me.
A little bit, yeah.
Can you talk about the Bay Area, like in a whole, for mixed martial arts? I know that there's a lot of tough people out there. There's a lot of gang violence. There's a lot of lost kids. There's a lot of people that are hustling and trying to do whatever they can to survive, you know, especially in the East Bay.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot going on.
No, I lost friends of mine for stupidity, man. Like one of my good friends from middle school, his name's like Kenna, and he was murdered over a PS4, excuse me. I never played it. Still haven't played a PS5 to this day, just because it just doesn't sit well with me. And he gave it to the dude, and the dude's sitting at 850 Bryant, looking at life, and I hope they give it to him. And things like that. I've been to more funerals than I have weddings, and seeing kids that actually made it. Like I know one of my boys, Granville, he made it to the NFL for the Arizona Cardinals, and one of my boys, Travis, he's a coach out in San Mateo. So there's people who actually make it out, and then there's people who don't even see past their 21st birthday.
Yeah,
so it's a big different culture shock when people are like, oh, you're lucky to be from the Bay. I am, and I'm lucky to get out of it too.
Yeah, it's I learned a lot from my big bro. You ever hear of Hot Ink Tattoos in Vallejo? Mario, big guy like you. He's my best friend. He's a Mason brother.
Oh, nice.
He's actually the head of the lodge out there. And I, you know, him. He taught me a lot because he was one of my first friends. Because I went and got a tattoo when I first moved to the Bay.
Nice.
And I remember him saying, he told me later, he was saying to himself, "Who's that motherfucker in there that won't shut the fuck up?" And of course, it was me. And then he came out and I saw a square and compass on the wall, and I was like, yeah, who's the Freemason in the building? And it was him.
Nice.
And, you know, 5-6 years later, we're still friends. That was 2018. But I learned a lot from him, man. The Bay I miss it. It's home to me. G-Eazy, Vallejo. My wife's uncle is a music producer. He's done very well. He's on a poster with like Mac Dre and all those guys.
Oh man. Speaking to my soul.
Yeah. They just had Mac Dre's best friend on No Jumper. They did an interview with Adam 22. I was watching that. It was pretty dope to hear some of the history. And it's just sad. You know, I'm from New Jersey, so I grew up with like Wu-Tang in Stapleton, New Jersey, and the Locks in Queens, and, you know, spent almost every summer in Brooklyn, went to high school in Queens for a year. But there's just nothing like the Bay, man.
Nothing. It's unique. It's a melting pot. I grew up with multicultural people, and that's one of the things that made me successful out here in Vegas is because when you move to Vegas and you see like, oh, it's still kind of segregated and still like to each their own, but fighting brings everything together. And I think that's the most beautiful thing of it. You know, it doesn't matter if you're a cop, if you're a drug dealer, if you're, you know, Middle Eastern or you're South American. We all punch each other in the face.
Yeah, shout out to High Rollers. They have they literally have the guys.
Yeah.
The jiu-jitsu competitions where the cops will compete against stoners.
Oh yeah.
I think it's called Cops versus Stoners. It's pretty dope. Yeah, Vegas is cool, man. I came out here with my wife. It's one of our first trips before we were married for New Year's 20 into 21. And we stayed on the Strip, and you know, it was during COVID, so it was kind of weird. We got kicked out of the Cosmo for not keeping our masks on. Like, we're trying to drink our Coronas, and fucking Men in Black come down, and they're like, I'm like, for real, I'm paying for all this shit. Yeah, it was weird, but we fell in love with Vegas. But we went back to the Bay. I had to finish college in San Francisco.
Nice. City College, SF State.
I went to the San Francisco Film School.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I wanted to get into film and all this stuff. Plus, during COVID, it was hard to find work.
Yeah. And
the Army pays you to go to college, and they pay you the most in the entire world if you go to a school with the zip code in San Francisco.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And it was on Zoom, so I could do it from anywhere.
That's
so
perfect.
I went to the film school out there. It worked out. That's why I loved having a motorcycle, because going over the fucking Bay Bridge, coming home, and in the morning I could just split lanes. The only state I think in America where you can split lanes. So what made you come to Vegas? You were obviously, you're 32, so you came out here when you were, what, 24?
23.
20, That's a big decision to leave home, and you came out here.
Uprooted everything. I left a cush job at a gym. I was managing a gym, cush restaurant spot that I was working at, my family's pizza spot. And
that's my language,
yeah,
pizza.
I love pizza. Shout out to the Italians.
Bro, pizza's my shit, bro. I'm from Jersey, man.
Yeah, gotta bring you sometime. So I was dating this girl, and I fell in love. I thought she was the one. So I moved out here, decided to finish up college, got 2 degrees out here from the schools out here, and decided if I'm going to take this chance on myself, I'm going to run with it. So I did. I still stayed active in the Muay Thai, dabbled in MMA, but I had to stop. I broke my face in 2018. Dude didn't know how to punch, kept his finger out and went through my eyeball. Yeah, so I'll never do MMA again.
Sounds fun.
98
Jesus
grand.
Christ. Yeah, damn.
And so through those last 8 years that I've been here, I've just buckled down, honed the art, learned how to be a better coach, learned how to be a better pad man. And I started doing fighter medicals out here. So I'm involved with a lot, not just the fighting art, but like the medicals, the business aspect and stuff like that.
Yeah, you mentioned that you're not just a coach, but you're kind of contracted to the UFC. How did that all come about? Just because there's one thing to have like a skill set, but then to bring it into business. Like I'm very good at clearing buildings and shooting people.
Yeah.
Now the guy next door doing a podcast has turned it into a business where he is doing executive protection and helping keep some of the most wealthy people in the world alive and safe. I've never been the business savvy guy. When was that transition?
I've always had a really good network within the fight community, and there was a medical company out here that was doing COVID testing. So during the years of COVID testing, a lot of the world got shut down. So COVID testing was reopening the world. So when the UFC started, it was the first sport to reopen and start doing their process. We also reopened up the strip with testing and within an hour, stuff like that. So it opened up possibilities for everybody getting back to work, people making money again. And then after that, I stayed with the company to give them my network of fighters from all over the country. So with that partnership, I was able to not only survive myself, but also show this company that, hey, through fighting and through all, like Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, we could create a demographic of business for each other.
You know what I like about that? It's funny that and don't take this in a bad way. We're older, right? So I don't base the value of a man on his wealth or his followers.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely, you can.
So, like for instance, John, he owns the studio. 8,000 followers. That guy knows more people and I've met people with 11, 12, 13 million. A lot of them are bots from India. Let's be real.
Nah, man, shout out to John, man.
John, yeah, he's next door doing a show right now.
John reached out to me at one of my lowest points in my life, and he was just there. I never met him before. He was just recommended to talk to me by one of the UFC fighters, and he was just like, dude, I've been there. You need anything, reach out. So I always love John, Big John Orlando. So
you guys see my post. John saved my life, man. Gave me purpose, literally.
Read that.
Yeah, he's I pray to God I never have to show him how loyal I am.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a bad day for a lot of people and maybe myself. But what I say that is I looked at your network, and I think your net worth, because of your network, is priceless. And I'm learning that in this business now. The ones who you think, oh, they got 6 million followers or 100,000, like, everybody's fake. So it's good to be with a real motherfucker who's in there connected and is more worried about bringing value to another man.
Oh, absolutely.
Instead of just looking like...
The world can take your money, they can take your fame, they can take your titles. What they can't take from you is your integrity.
Yeah.
And I fully stand on that, because at my lowest, I was still helping people. I was still pushing the narrative that, hey, I'm going to get through this, even when I didn't believe it. So for me to not fake the funk, but faith the funk until I walked through it, I was able to build something again and rebuild my life. And now I'm living a dream. I was just traveling to Italy 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting this new business over here at Fontainebleau in 2 weeks. So
are they ever going to fix the windows on the outside?
Yeah, no, that's already done.
Is it? Bro, they were
these winds, man. People don't know. Vegas is a tunnel.
Vegas is, yeah. Any desert, man. Kuwait was like that. Iraq. just the deserts alone. But no, I really like to be surrounded by real people because this world has turned into such a fake ass, weak ass, pussy ass, world that drives me nuts. You know, everybody wants to sit on camera and make clips and talk about high value and alpha and all that, and they ain't done shit. I guarantee you, I would take their shoes and their family would be sending money to put on my books to feed me every week because they're all pussies.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying I'm a bad dude. I'm just saying I'm a protector, but you got, if this triggers you, you're one of them, you fake ass motherfuckers. They want to sit around and red pill, all this bullshit. The most badass people, Navy SEALs, soft guys, like just you fighters, the most humble, quiet, helpful people.
Yeah.
So that's a long-winded compliment for you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So you're in the business, COVID hits, you're doing... The smart move, man. The COVID stuff, all that stuff.
It was. I mean, the world needed it, you know. And shout out to the guys at Pro-Am because they really honed down and the logistics they ran. I was traveling between Vegas, San Francisco, Connecticut for all the big like Bellator, PBC, boxing events. So the world was literally at home, but the fighters were still working and trying to survive. So I was a part of that, and it felt really good to know like, hey, aren't you a pad man and aren't you like the guy that's testing? And I'm like, yeah, I do everything. You know, when I was homeless, I had to hustle. I wasn't going to take a handout. I wasn't going to, like, I had people who were like, oh, come live with me. And I said no, because I want to know that I could do this on my own. One of my favorite sayings that got me through my toughest times was there's never an atheist in a foxhole.
That's true. I've been in a foxhole.
And you're going to realize who your real friends are. You're going to realize who's there for you and why they're there. And that's the type of mentality I bring to my training, because it doesn't matter if you're the world champion or not. We're there to get better every single day.
Yeah, we have to lean on each other. I had a soldier when I first went to Fort Polk, Louisiana. I was a squad leader in 2011, and in 2011 at Fort Polk, we came down on orders to go to Kandahar, Afghanistan, and I immediately was in the gym and just crushing it. And I had one of my new privates. He said, "Sergeant, why do you work out so much?" And I said, "Well, when we go to war, there's going to be a lot of decisions that we have to make, and there's going to be a lot of things that are made for us.
Yeah.
But I refuse to die because I couldn't make it up the mountain or drag your ass up the mountain with me.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to do everything I can to be the baddest, hardest target on earth."
Yeah. Now, if I could piggyback off that, you could literally see with training like a good gauge between like, oh, I want to be strong. Well, why do you want to be strong? Do you want to protect yourself or do you want to protect people behind you? I always tell people your body weight plus another man. And it's like, why do I have to think like that? Because there's going to be a time, hopefully, that you don't see, but if it ever happens, that I'd rather you be prepared. You ever hear the term, I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in war?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's some of the realest things that I've ever been able to visualize. Because in those situations, like October 1st here in Vegas, you don't know how many people could have gone if they were strong physically enough to help other people. And it's one of those like PTSD moments. It's like, oh shit, like I could have helped more people. Well, you should be able to help more people.
Yeah.
You know?
And I've had a lot of people ask me, my wife used to ask, but now they say, why do you have this bag? You know? I mean, in here I have, this is 500 pounds. This is a real D-ring for rappelling. Tourniquets, gloves, firearms, extra mags. I tell people this is my choice bag.
Yeah.
This bag helps me have a choice if I'm going to live today or I'm going to die today or I'm going to save lives today. Because I will not be a victim. I fucking refuse it. If I die saving people, I'm cool with that.
Oh, yeah.
I never expected to come back from the war. But I refuse to not be able to keep my daughters and my wife safe because I'm less than what I need to be as a man. I'm the only way to beat evil is to be more skilled at evil.
Yep.
But be good. So that's why I walk around with my little bag and like I showed you the pepper spray. I don't always have to shoot somebody, but you can make them suffer a little bit. But yeah, the world's definitely...
It's changing, man. It's changing for the worse. That's why you need strong men. That's why you need strong leadership, and you need people who are going to hold you accountable.
Yeah. Speaking of accountable, being a coach, can you talk about that a little bit? I mean, because I've been in the PI, shout out to their pizza, it's pretty good, and all the plethora of drinks at the end of the register. They got so much shit in there. But a lot of people, the fans that watch this, they don't, they're not blessed like we are So to go from 2019 homeless, I was homeless 2018, doing heroin, living in a Walmart parking lot, facing 99 years in prison, man, for some stuff I didn't do. Everything's been dismissed, but I went through it, you know? Talk about that journey from like broke out, still had your skill set, the business, and how all of that helps you be a better leader. Because like I really think the best leaders are the ones who suffer. If you never suffered, if your life's a bunch of beauty and fucking rainbows and butterflies, I don't fucking trust you.
I'd never trust a man that doesn't have scars.
Facts.
I'm fortunate enough to learn growing up in a faith-based home that I was able to count upon proper leadership. And sometimes you got to go look for that leadership. Sometimes it's not going to be given to you. Sometimes you have to trust people. And I feel that during that struggle, I had to reach out and get help. So I've been in therapy every week since 2019, and I love my therapist. Sometimes it used to be 2-3 times a week. Now it's once a month because he doesn't want to talk to me anymore. I'm kidding. But it's growth. It's progression. It's taking what you have and making the best of it. The leadership that I have over me are mentors that are not only in the fight world, but also in business world. So one of the guys I work with, he's proper logistics, military guy, ex-Army Ranger. And those guys, they don't sit around and twiddle their thumbs all day.
Nope.
These guys are in the dirt and they're like, okay, this is what we got to get done. Figure it out. Okay. And if you can't, you don't go back to them, because why waste your time and his time?
Facts.
You know, and then I have leadership across the world. Like I talk to people in Thailand. I talk to people, coaches in Thailand and Mexico City and stuff like that. I got a guy now who's moving from Singapore to Dallas who I'll go and reconnect with, because he's impacting people in Singapore and all other parts of the world that I'm not going to be able to. And we have these collective talks and lunches, and I fly back to Vegas. So it's investments in myself and in my community that I make to reassure that, hey, I'm getting proper leadership training.
I miss the camaraderie that I had in the military.
A lot of people do, yeah.
But I truly believe that a man by himself will fail.
Yeah.
And we need to be surrounded by other good men
Mm-hmm.
to hold us accountable. So what you just said is literally what people need to do.
Oh, absolutely. Like I had this ideology, this delusion of myself that I'm the toughest motherfucker around. No, I'm not. Because in those mornings, 2-3 in the morning here in Vegas, when it's 40 degrees and you're in a parking lot at Walmart right over there, like which you walk through, you get to either become really hardened, or you get to really be transparent and tell people, hey, I made it, you can make it, do this, do this, do this. And it's one of those, like, I can't even remember the last time that I was sad, because it's not, I don't give myself that choice anymore.
Yeah.
I have empathy, I have feelings which I process, but I don't allow myself to get in that spot to where I'm like, oh, boo-hoo me. Because I've been through way worse. And I know people who've been through way worse. A lot of the guys I used to work with in undercover security, we used to have
Oh, that's right. You did security too.
yeah.
Yeah. I definitely stand next to you.
They used to call on me when there would be fights, and then they'd make fun of me because there wasn't a fight. You don't want to escalate it.
Well, the funny thing about you is being a Muay Thai champ, you look like a linebacker.
I used to play football.
Yeah. But you wouldn't expect that you could kick someone in the head. Like that wouldn't be the first thing if we squared up. I'm thinking like, this guy's going to just bear hug me and pound, ground and pound. And then you kick them in the head and their head flies across the street. One of the best examples of that is Rose Namajunas' coach and fiance.
Pat Barry, right?
Yeah, like that guy doesn't look like he's doing splits.
Dude is flexible as hell. I used to spar him back when we were in San Francisco, because Rose would train with some of the girls at that camp, and Pat would definitely be able to move like a lightweight. So having that flexibility and him being a kickboxer kind of went hand in hand.
Yeah.
So shout out to the big guys that are throwing kicks and fighting and stuff. So.
You know what I love about this episode? I meet a lot of people that come in here and they know my background. They know I'm older.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've been through a lot. And for some reason, they think they need to impress me.
Mm-hmm.
And I could just, I don't know. It's like I smell blood. and I get youth, and if they don't know me, that I could look a little intimidating and with my background and stuff. But I'm like, I'm the most scared person in the world. Like I got bullied and picked on, and I still cry a lot to this day because I was faking being hard for over a decade and numbing myself. So when I meet a real person, and I could tell they're a solid man who's been through it. It's good because there's like I don't want to keep saying the same shit, but there's so many. You've been in this industry longer than me. I've only been in this industry like 8 months, and I don't know, man. I miss sitting by the fire with a couple of the bros and not having Instagram.
Oh man, because it ruined our society. Because it makes you compare. And what I've learned, not just religiously, but like faith and through just being honest with each other, we compare ourselves to everybody. And it's like, well, why don't I have that life? Why don't I have this? You got to get rid of the distractions.
Yeah. Confidence.
Confidence. I may seem like the least confident person in the world, but I know what I'm capable of when it needs to be.
And that's why you're so chill. I'm always happy. I tell people.
You have to be happy.
I tell people I'm the nicest person you could ever meet, but I'm 10 times meaner.
Yeah.
So don't fuck with me.
I don't need to be mean, man.
Yeah, I'm such a nice guy. You know who I want to shout out to? He's engineering right now, Chase. Chase is an old soul, and he travels the world. He sings opera at like an elite level. I talked to John Orlando about Chase the other day, and I said, there's sometimes you just envy somebody. And what I mean by that is you ever meet someone who's just so themselves and so organic and just so individualized their life. I don't even know if that's a fucking word, individualized. Hey, I'm from Jersey, all right? But when you meet somebody who is just so themselves, like you ever meet a friend who's like, doesn't have social media, he's got a little ranch, he's a plumber, and he drinks the same beer, he gets a 6-pack after work, and he's happy as fuck. He doesn't care about what he looks like. He's wearing the same... I think the world is hurting for those men, and Chase is one of those guys.
I appreciate that, brother, for real. You know, you don't see a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, but like, you know, I just try to keep it real.
Yeah, he rides his motorcycle. He wears his, he's got a style with the beanie, and he's just himself. And yeah, we need more of that. Can you talk about the fight game? Because I know, guys, I get shit sometimes because like, isn't this a fight show? And I talk about fucking Abraham Lincoln and all this crazy shit. So talk about the transition into mentor, coach, and the UFC, because I know as much as you know how hard it is to get in the little bubble we're in. It's like there's nobody outside with forks and setting shit on fire, but it feels like that when you try to get into this world. How did you get in?
So I still am an active pro heavyweight Muay Thai fighter, but about 6 years ago, I took an MMA fight because nobody wanted to fight Muay Thai. It's hard to find big boys. So I was like, oh, let me try out MMA. So I started training wrestling, and I started working with a couple of great UFC guys, and then we did an MMA fight, broke my face. So my ex at the time was like, why don't you just hang it up, give it up, go into corporate, be a pencil pusher, be something that makes money. And that's where my life was heading. And I was depressed. I ballooned over to 300 pounds, and my heaviest I was 330. But to appease her and keep myself above water, I had to bring in money. So instead of fighting, I turned to more of a coaching role. And during those times coaching, it wasn't just like, I want to develop fighters. It was, I want to develop better people. And through those 4 years, I was able to really, set a fire on a lot of things, and change people's aspects and win a lot of fights. And my friends won their fights, and I'd fly over the country with it. So it became something that I love to do because I'm still in the community. And to this day, I don't think of myself as this great time coach because I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to be what is needed at the time. So when those opportunities arise, like there was a fight here in Vegas that a kid from Sweden flew over from, and his coach didn't want to come, didn't want to pay, which is normal. And other than the UFC, it's expensive to fly over countries. So the promoter was like, "Hey, you're licensed. Why don't you corner him?" And I did, and he lost, and that was okay. He got cut up by a fighter from China. And just seeing the elevation from where it was 5 years ago to where it's at now, the fight world is insane. So I'm dramatically invested in it in different assets. So I'm thankful that the guys that do trust me allow me to train and coach them and stuff. And it's only going to get either more in depth, or I'm going to be traveling a lot more. But I'm certified through the government of Thailand. I'm one of the 8 coaches here in America that have that. So I'm very, very thankful. And just going to keep doing it every day.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah,
for our brain. I love the fight community because it gives me purpose. It was just it was just my hobby. I did so much. I mean, that's why John reached out, and was like, I want you to host the show, because I was posting as much as a host would anyway, just on my own time. Because mental health, man, I think that people like us, we have to go all in. And that's why I made those posts about becoming the UFC's first veteran liaison. And when I say that, and you see it on a clip, people, when you're watching a clip on your phone, they don't fully grasp how important it is.
No.
There's 22 guys and girls today that are going to eat a bullet.
Yeah.
They're going to take their life, and they're going to leave behind their families and their children, and they don't even want to get up and take a shower.
Yeah.
So if I can save a few lives by bringing them some joy and bringing them here to sit in a podcast with a fighter and then taking them across the street to the Apex, I feel like that's my purpose. I have to give back. I can't take advantage of this. And I just can't stress the importance of that enough for the veteran community. And everyone. But I'm more focused on the vets, but I know that's big with everybody. But people, I watched the clip myself, and you can't grasp the you cannot. It's impossible to feel the magnitude of importance when I say I want to bring fighters to UFC events. You just think, when I say I want to bring veterans over to UFC events, people, they see it and they hear it, but they don't get it. No, there's guys that are going to overdose today. They're going to drink. They're going to shoot themselves in the parking lot at the VA. They're going to lose their children. And I've lost my kids. I've gone through so much. I have to be focused and moving forward to help. Like you said, when you're at your lowest, you have to give back. Yeah. I have a Palestinian friend of mine, and I don't choose sides or go into all that stuff. I just believe everyone needs to preserve life and get along. I've been to war. I've seen it. I don't agree with it. But regardless, he's Palestinian and he's young and he's seeing everything and he may not understand it all. And I see him posting stuff, and he reached out and was like, I'm depressed and I'm really going through it. And I said, go talk to your mom, because she's been Palestinian for a long time. Half my family is Jewish. My grandfather's Jewish. Taking a break is okay. Yeah. But I told him, give back. Find one person that needs something.
Go serve.
And go serve them. Buy them lunch. Yeah. Do something.
Yeah.
At my lowest, living in a trailer in over near Samstown, I would have $20, and I'd tell a homeless guy, can I buy you food for an interview? And I got about 100 interviews with homeless. I had a show called Broken People. But I was still broken, so I kind of was using them.
Healing to get
through them, and it wasn't good. I felt like selfish at the time, because they're going to look at me with the car and a camper like I'm Puff Daddy, when I knew my capabilities. So I stopped doing it until I started to heal myself even more. But I think that's what you do. Like, you were in this broken state and you knew what you wanted to do, and now your life is literally helping people achieve their goals.
Yeah, little day by day. One of my coaches, Jelly, he's from Canada. He gave me this quote, like we would hit pads, and being 300 pounds, I'd just gas out. But I know I'm better than that. And he was like, day by day, step by step, and I live by that. And anytime that I see people going through it, those are the same words that come out of my mouth. Because if I'm not transparent and show people that I've healed from what I've healed from, they can grasp onto that and heal and hope from that as well. So it's like, use me as an example. I'm not going to be here just for myself. I want to die and not have anything left to give. And that's the way I live my life.
Damn. Well, speaking of giving, you give a lot to the fighters. Can you, for the fans and for me, like, what is it like walking into an arena when your fighters, but you guys put all that work into camp, and like I just said, we can't grasp what you guys look stoic. You look like everything's chill, but I know damn well I looked stoic on patrol in Iraq, and I was losing my mind, scared. Man. What is it like walking through that tunnel with
making the walk?
So
I've been the fighter, I've been the second, I've been the bucket boy, the timer, the head coach. I've gotten to be blessed to live through all of that. And it is worse as a coach than it is ever as a fighter, because you're going in there, you know what you're doing. As a coach, you have no say. You have no, like, they can listen or they can't. It's up to them, the fighter. I'm the controller. The robot needs to act accordingly. there's been times in the PFL I've walked through where immediately before I threw up because I was so nervous. Not even for me, but for my friend, for somebody that we're leading into battle. And it's one of those like, okay, this needs to happen. Dude gets an arm bar, wins. It's amazing. And being able to walk through, you know, the lower level shows. And I think that's more my favorite thing because that's how I started. You know, these UFC shows, you get great coaches and they do it stoically, like you said, and they'll be honest. They'll tell you like it's tough because they don't have any, you know, say in the cage. But like in a Muay Thai show, lower level, it's real. You see the fans, you smell the fans. It's like, okay, like, oh, there's my mailman, there's my restaurant manager, there's my sponsor, and they're here, and you could see it. It's a lot more intimate at that smaller level than hacking out T-Mobile or Dallas Arena. Or,
I'm friends with Eric Nixick.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shout out Eric, man, love that guy.
Eric's the most humble killer I've ever met. I want to probably text him later this week, and I want to get him and Ngannou's other coach on the show.
Cooper.
Dewey Cooper is gonna.
Man, I love Dewey.
I just want to know more about how it was to go into Saudi for that fight because all right, you're a pro fighter. Let's dive into that. This is a fight show. What did you? Because I don't know. Like I know that if you and I go outside and get in a gunfight, there's no chance you're gonna win.
No.
And that's not ego. That's just repetition and mechanics and thousands and hours and years. Wow. If we go out in the parking lot and we want to fight, you're going to beat the dog shit out of me. And that's just because that's what it is. Mm-hmm. Why can somebody who's never boxed go into boxing and basically defeat, in quotes, the greatest heavyweight champ that we've ever seen in this era? Why? How is it possible?
The man himself, Francis, is one of the most amazing stories you'll ever see. If you ever get a chance to talk to this man, like just hearing how he went from sand mines to becoming the UFC heavyweight champion of the world to beating, in my opinion, my opinion is nothing, I don't know shit about boxing, but from a fight standpoint, he owned that fight. Nothing disrespectful to Tyson Fury. I love the guy. Met him twice. But Ngannou did what he had to do. That comes from leadership, that comes from trust, that comes from hours. And I don't mean just 30 minutes. I mean, I know the way those guys train. I've seen it in MMA. I've seen them do 3-4 times a day. Dewey Cooper is one of the most dedicated coaches I've ever been blessed to know. Same thing with Eric. When he was doing MMA, they were in couture every day. Pads, sparring, wall work, wrestling. I knew guys that were getting thrown and wrestling Francis. Like, just being able to watch it is a thing of beauty. Yeah. But knowing Dewey Cooper like that, he's not only a great coach, he was a great fighter as well. He's a southpaw. And his mentality towards training his fighters, there's nobody more dedicated than that man. Yeah. He doesn't sleep.
Now, I completely agree with what you said about Dewey Cooper, Eric Nixick, Francis being a freak. But Coach, how does somebody go into a sport they've never done? Like, I think boxing is fake. Let somebody that's never wrestled go wrestle Henry Cejudo. Yeah. Or never played baseball try to hit a pitch off a major league player. It's not going to happen. No. Like, is there? I don't know. I was blown away.
I was too. I mean, he made it exciting. Like, boxing is known for building guys up. Everyone wants to be Mayweather and keep their zero, but you know, Francis has lost. You know, he's been a boxer. He's been a kickboxer. He's done MMA. So fighting for him is relative. It's his life.
Yeah,
and so going into a boxing ring, you got to adjust your style a little bit, your footwork a lot more. But he brought it to him. And when you have supreme confidence in anything that you do, the results show for themselves.
And someone like Francis, I relate to Francis a lot because he's been through so much, from homelessness to jails to all the things that most people never have to endure. So to go in there and box, he was like, oh.
That's what he wanted. That's his dream.
Yeah.
And to do it against the best in the world, I mean, people call you crazy. People call you insane, but you have to be obsessed with what you do. And seeing that come into fruition from what it was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, it's inspiring. And I think that anybody who wants to talk smack about it, how about you get in the ring yourself?
Yeah.
Prove that you can do what he did.
I want to, I'm going to start promoting it soon and talk to the celebrity boxing guys. and that's an organization. I'm not saying I'm a celebrity, but I want to bare knuckle with somebody. I have a bad back and sciatica. I used to do a lot of jujitsu. I don't want to hurt myself again. I have a 10-month-old, and I got a hot wife who, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to not be able to perform. Speaking of that, I'm going to switch gears real quick. Speaking of being able to perform in the bedroom, I got to put on my Riz Pharma hat. And I put this on because I'm getting older and I'm in the fight community, and I see a lot of people not just training but overtraining, and then going through injuries and just not living to the full potential. And I say that because Riz Pharma as a whole, I've dug into it, literally isn't just like take this and it's not one of those magic pills that everybody tries to just promote. It's a legit company that touches on everything from libido to endurance to hair loss to overall well-being for men. And I just want people to, at the very least, look into it, because I know for a fact firsthand that it's helping me. And we've been talking about pushing forward and helping others. So I really believe that, because I don't believe anything.
Yeah.
I was like, get the hell out of here. And now I feel good. Losing weight, I'm getting a little in better shape. I'm
Nice.
more energy. So shout out to Riz Pharma. Check them out. I mean that. Shameless plug.
This is your show.
Yeah.
Do what you
Shameless
do,
plug.
baby.
Talk about that. How does, I'm still learning, like the sponsors, and do you, and you might hurt some feelings, and I might, especially because I'm not a fighter. But I grew up fighting in Jersey. I grew up knowing a lot of hard people. I've been in a lot of scraps. Can you explain how you feel about the fight game today when it comes to an athlete versus a fighter? You know what I mean? Like,
Of course.
There's
huge differences.
I feel like there's not many fighters left. I feel like it's like almost all athletes. Robby Green,
He's a fighter. He's an absolute fighter. He's one of the last of that generation of pure fighters. He does tone his skills, but I can't speak on the man's ethics. But I know he goes out there and he does his thing. You know.
Do you think social media? I see so many fighters from all organizations that they hire a film crew and they do these dope clips of them hitting mitts. Then they look so sharp and they look so tremendous, but then they get in the octagon and they're like frozen.
Yeah.
What do you think is it? We want more sponsors to look cool. We want more clout, but we're not at, where's the?
I think it comes from a general like inside, like how you feel about yourself. I come from the generation that was preceding social media, so I was very fortunate to know both sides. As a business, as you know, sponsorships, you need to have views, you need to have this. But if you can't correlate those to wins, your sponsorship's going to walk, plain and simple. I've had that happen. I've been dropped by sponsors, which is not an issue. You know, it's business. But I've also been blessed with good sponsors to keep doing what I'm doing when I needed it. What I've noticed is that people want to say they want to fight, and then they don't. And I've had opponents who talk a lot of shit, and they're like, oh, blah, 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 let's fight this, let's do this. It's one of the reasons why I stopped doing Muay Thai, because one, nobody wanted to fight me. Two, I got called out by this one local kid, and he didn't show up to weigh-ins. Biggest pussy I know. And I told him it's still on site, even to this day. So I don't hold any hate in my heart. That's just
But you guys put a lot of work in, and on weigh-in day,
Yeah.
you already in your mind thought about the bills you were going to pay, and
Absolutely.
like what you were going to do for the family and yourself, and then
Nothing happens.
how does it? Do fighters get anything if they? I know in the UFC they might.
It's different. Like at the level that I fight at with Muay Thai, if you don't make weight, if you don't compete, you're not getting your money. So it's up to both of you to be professional and show up, fight, put it on for the fans. A lot of people aren't honest with themselves anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's like you sign the contract, you know what you're supposed to do it. But even at the amateur levels, they still act amateurish. And you can see the difference between, like you said, athletes, people who want Instagram clout, or people who actually want to fight.
Yeah.
I find happiness fighting. I don't give a shit what my record is. And I think that's something that the American audience needs to be a little bit more educated about. You go anywhere else in the world, fighters are loved. They're adored. Go to Japan, you go to Thailand, you go to Brazil. Cool, you get knocked out. Cool, we'll see you in the gym next week.
Yeah, especially like I've seen some of the one championship, like the crowd is quiet and
Yeah,
respectful, and I mean, I did.
it's a martial arts ideology.
Yeah, Taekwondo. I grew up doing that, and it was just like respect
is big.
It was huge.
Mhm.
Loyalty, respect.
Mhm.
Have you done any work with? And if not, I'll connect you. Sean Merriman is a friend of
Yes.
mine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he owns Lights Out.
Yep. I know the company very well.
Yeah. So I think that on the lower, I don't want to say lower, it's not a bad thing. I think they do the best out of like, I mean, Tough Enough does real good. There's a ton of them.
Yeah.
Bellator just got bought.
By PFL, yeah.
But I think they're like, if you went over there, you could go to Contender. Like they have tremendous fights. So shout out to Sean Merriman. Shout out to Lights Out. What do you think about them? Have you been cage side or?
Oh no, so with them, it's more of a business. Like I've helped their fighters get their medicals done, so it's more of a business relationship. So we've worked with them. They're one of my contacts. I'm one of their resources. So if anybody needs fighter medicals in all over the USA, I'm the guy to help coordinate it. So that's one of my guys. So I've worked with them last 2 events. So
damn, yeah, he's a friend of mine. I've had him on a few times.
yeah, no, he's a really good businessman. His promotions lighten up, literally, no pun intended.
Yep.
But I love seeing organizations grow. I love seeing consistency. There's Muay Thai, there's WCK Muay Thai, there's Triumphant Muay Thai. There's one. They do huge things for Muay Thai. That's their bread and butter.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't love MMA, but my heart is in Muay Thai.
Yeah.
It saved my life. So, of course, I'm going to go. I've been to Thailand 4 times already. And before COVID, I was thinking about moving back out there. So I was like,
have you been to that famous gym out there?
There's a lot.
The one that everybody goes to, Raphael Fiziev.
Tiger?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been and trained at Tiger. Love those guys over there.
How is that? That's cool.
It's another world. So like they live and breathe fighting. They incorporated MMA a couple years ago, but when it was strictly Muay Thai, like there's guys out there
You show up on a moped and just get off.
Literally, they get out, they're in their shorts, they're ready to go. Funny story at Tiger, I was there for a bachelor party. So my coach was getting married in Phuket. And so we go there, and so everybody in the world thinks Americans aren't good at Muay Thai. So luckily, I'm in a group that, we went as a collective. And so they were like, we were shadow boxing, and they're like, what are you doing in this class? Go to the advanced fighters class. So it was really like an honor for us. And then we got to train with Crew Rob out there, Crew Kent, and then some of those guys are still there. And then some of them went to another gym called Bang Tao, which is on the other side of the island. It's owned by the Hickman Bros, amazing wrestlers. They have a ton of UFC fighters. Volkanovski was over there too. So like Thailand is so small that there's a lot of world-class gyms. They just don't get the notoriety.
Yeah.
My favorite gym out in Thailand is Sitmonchai, which is 2 hours east in the jungle of Bangkok. So like literally had to hire a driver to get me there. And then
That's wild.
You wake up at 6 a.m., you go run 5 miles, go get a smoothie, do your pads, take a nap, have lunch, have dinner, train again, and then you go to sleep.
I mean, that's why Darren Till was so good at one point. Like he lived in Brazil for 5 years and didn't do anything but fight and train. And that's when he went on the run. Like those guys in Thailand.
Yeah.
Chael Sonnen once said, the best fighter in the world, you'll never know his name.
Yep, absolutely.
You run across a lot of those guys in Thailand.
Man, if those guys can get an opportunity, like they're just starting to break through with one. Rod Tang was one of them. He's incredible. Super leg.
Made out of stone.
Yeah, 100%. Like these guys are terrifying. Like I've been thrown by a 135-pound man harder than I have any heavyweight out here. Like these guys do not care. They're just throwing you, and it's exhilarating because as a big guy, you don't really see that. But when you can hang and you can clinch and you can do all these things, you learn from everybody. So growing up as a heavyweight, I was allowed to spar, the pro fighters, the champs, all that stuff. But then I was forced to spar the 105-pound girls, and they were allowed to go as hard as they wanted and it'd teach me defense. So my coach's ideology was different from any other sport that I had, because why am I going to work with girls? Well, because one, you're going to learn respect and you're going to learn how to be a good teammate. Because if you're not a good teammate, you're never going to progress. So
what else are they doing? What other sports are big in Thailand? I only hear, being a part of the fight community.
Soccer is huge out there.
All right.
Yeah. So it's growing. MMA is starting to break through out there. Boxing is big. They have a ton of WBC champs in the lower weights, minimal weight, 105, 106 pound men.
Holy shit.
Yeah, those guys throw. Manny Pacquiao, WBC boxer. He started out in Muay Thai.
Really?
Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know that.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So are you contracted with a bunch of fighters now? Like, I know they got a MSG coming up this weekend. Do you travel with UFC and stuff?
I was supposed to go this weekend, but I start the new job on Monday, so I don't want to overwhelm myself. Plus, I have court on Wednesday for a lawsuit with my old security stuff, so dealing with that. And but like the main event, Yuri versus Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira's fist is bigger than my fist, but he's the nicest guy in the world. We don't speak each other's language, but when we spar and when we train, it's respectful. He'll show me how to lighten up. Showed me his setup for the left hook.
Did we just? Sorry to cut you off, Chase. Did you hear what he just said? You see how casually he sat here and said, you know, when I spar Alex Pereira.
No, I mean, it's nothing like.
Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, I get it. You're a heavyweight. You're in the. But just
Glover,
the casual, that's like you just went to get a cup of coffee. I'm sparring the.
Well, the way that I look at
that's
it,
gangster as fuck.
the way that I look at it is I am nothing if I'm not building other people. Sparring is a blessing to me because a lot of people think that's what you have to do to get better. No, I'm fortunate enough to be trusted with these people. You know what I'm saying? Because one mistake that I make could cost them a fight.
Yeah.
If I'm spazzy or if I cut somebody with an elbow, that's on me, and I can't.
I mean, look at Charles Oliveira.
Yeah.
The day before he flew to Abu Dhabi.
And shout out to Volk for taking it on 11 days notice. You know, like things like that happen in camp. You know, people can be mad all they want, but if you're not in the fire, you don't have a right to say anything. So it happens all the time. But, you know, training with Glover, he's here. Whenever he's there, I try to get working with him. He's one of the nicest guys you'll meet. Just
I like watching them.
Don't go to the ground with them. They're the funniest people in the world.
What do you think about that fight, Pereira
And Yuri?
and Yuri?
I'm just excited to be a fan at that point because these are two martial artists. They're not fighters, in my opinion. These are martial artists, the best of the best, the cream of the crop. Like, Yuri never lost his belt. He had to vacate it, and rightfully so. He's an honorable champion. Alex Pereira, through the fire, you've seen him 3 years, win, lose, get knocked out, become a champion, win again. Like, you don't see that a lot in any other sport. Somebody gets knocked out in boxing, they're out for the rest of the year. Sometimes you never see him in the gym again.
And he's my age. He's like 37, 38.
He's been doing this for years.
He's still competing at the highest level.
Yes.
Most guys are broken.
Yeah. Because they allow themselves to be. You know, physically you can come back from anything. I'm a testament to that. Broken face, come back. But those guys who get knocked out and have the confidence, like Izzy, people don't give Izzy enough credit. He's one of the best in the world at what he does. Let him take his break.
I think he
deserves it.
I think that
20 defenses in 4 years, like nobody thinks like that.
Do you think that if he had taken more time before the Strickland fight, it may have been different, or Strickland just has his number?
I love Strickland. Strickland's jab and pressure is something that has made other people better. He trains everybody. He doesn't give a shit who you are. He'll train with you.
Yeah, I've seen him in Extreme Couture. I'm a part of MVP.
I love that. Good. So you got Danny.
Yep.
Danny D is the guy. I love that program.
MVP's. They're actually doing an event tonight at Topgolf.
Oh, nice.
But my lazy ass hasn't gone in a while, so I'm not just going to
go.
show up to. I don't want to just show up.
You better show up there, and then you better show up next week to the Operation Knockout with Randy and those guys over at Sahara.
Oh, you know what? My friend of mine, Brian Hopkins, the host of the Hero's Journey podcast, he's really close to Randy. I met Randy at, shout out to John Sarasani. He let me go to the Trump hotel and go to like a marketing event.
Nice.
And I got to meet Randy. He was one of the speakers. Okay. But he was 101st. My dad was 101st.
Yeah.
I was attached to 101st in Iraq. So we're working on getting him on the show, but he's not here a lot.
No, he travels.
Yeah.
Man's in movies. Man is living his dreams. So love that guy.
Yeah. So we're pretty much out of time, but I got to ask you, what's next?
What's next? I'm possibly fighting here in Vegas.
You're going to fight.
I'm fighting here in Vegas, yeah.
Let's
January.
fucking go. I want to fight too. I swear to God. I want to bare knuckle another MMA influencer. We all get to sit here and look pretty and interview all these fighters that put their bodies on the line. Let's get it. If you're an MMA journalist, we'll figure the weight out. Bare knuckle. man the fuck up. I'm not doing boxing with pillows. I'm not doing jujitsu. I want to punch you in your face and make you bleed, and you're going to have all the chances in the world to make me bleed. So don't be a bitch. Let's get it. Sorry. All right, so you're gonna
waiting on the contract, but it's gonna be here in Vegas. Full rules Muay Thai. Yeah,
I want to go.
I'll get you tickets.
I'll pay. Support
Perfect.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're doing that, and then maybe one more, and then full-time coaching. And I'm at the tail end of my career, and I'd rather me be on my terms than physically or medically induced to where I have to retire. I've been knocked out many times, 3 times the last 15 years. So I'm like, I want to have a brain, and fighting isn't everything, and I'm fortunate enough to fight. But I think 1 or 2 more as a pro, and I'm okay with that.
That's so sick. Well, Robert Squyres Jr.
Thank you for having me, man.
You're a madman and a humble man. I appreciate you coming on, man. We'll build this, and hopefully we can watch you head kick somebody into the bleachers.
That's the goal.
I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you both. Thank you.
Fight Junkies, like, share, subscribe.
Thank you, guys.
And if you're a veteran, a Freemason, let's go, brothers. I need to up these followers. And I mean that. We got to support each other, and I do a lot for our community, so I'm asking you guys as combat vets and as Freemasons to support me because I won't let you down. I promise you that. So Fight Junkies, Chase, thank you. We're out.